Hello, my name is Mike Bath, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, the last time we got together a few days ago, we discussed the fact there is no objective world. Oh, quite controversial. And during that discussion, I said we would continue on that path to begin to uncover why that is so. Because it seems so obvious that there are outside objects. So we're going to discuss that. And this time, as part of that discussion, is the remark, you never listen to your senses. You never listen to your senses. So we will be discussing senses, because that's the first step in looking at why there is no outside objective world. Now, why don't you listen to your senses? See, that's why this is here. Why? Why don't you listen to your senses? Doesn't talk your language. The communication within the body is not in words. All of the communication that makes things happen, that releases chemicals, that causes you to do certain things, has nothing to do with language. Has to do with signals. Electromagnetic and chemical signals. So how good are you at that language to be understanding what the senses sense? My guess is you're not too good. And so you're letting your conscious mind tell you. So we're going to take this why off here and move on to looking at what the senses do. Now, all of your senses are magnificent. They are beautiful inside their function. But we're going to look at that as each one of your senses as a black box. So we're not going to be involved in how the senses work to do what they do. We're going to let that be part of the mystery of the black box. And it doesn't matter which one of the senses. Now we'll concentrate basically on two, sight and hearing, because those are kind of easy to picture. And all your senses, now that make believe that this black box is one of your sense organs. Now it's looking at, all your senses look to what's outside of you. So what's outside of you? We really don't know. I have said several times, only energy. Energy in the form of interacting fields are outside of you. And in those interacting fields, some move very quickly, and others hardly move at all. And within that milieu of all of those interacting fields, patterns emerge. And the patterns are the input for the black box. Now, each one of your senses is designed to capture certain types of information. The eye sees different information than the nose, the smelling. The touch has different information than the taste. But when they all come together in their own little black box, come out the other end, see, we have an input from the energy field that the eye, the ears, the nose, the taste, the touch, the smell is capable of taking, and that gives an output. It converts the outside energy in the magnificence of the sense organ into an output that can be used in the body as electromagnetic and chemical information. So I don't want you to spend a lot of time thinking about how each organ tries to do that. I want you to recognize you get an input from the outside, you manipulate it through the sense organ, and you get an output of electromagnetic and chemical information. That's the part of what the organs do, the sense organs. It takes input information, converts it into a system that the body can function with. Now, this is the first step in recognizing there's no objects out here. The eyes do not see objects. The eyes pick up as input information light waves of energy between around, I didn't look it up again, 300 to 800 nanometers per second. Not objects, information, and converts that into electromagnetic and chemical impulses that we take into the body. Again, I got to be clear, no objects, information outside. After going through the magnificent sense organ, meaningful information for the body. Now the body, how does it know that it's meaningful information? It's just raw data. So the data comes in and you compare it with what you know. What do you know from your life experiences? You know things because you have experienced them, and they have coalesced into memories and into your belief system. So this output information is compared with what you know to be true for you. And during that comparison, if there's information that you have no reference to, it's meaningless and you can't use it. And when that happens, the information drops out of the stream of data that goes to the mind, brain, through the central nervous system, and you make an interpretation of meaningful data. So the sense organ takes in copious amounts of information, much of it beyond what you know, converts that into electromagnetic signals, compares this data, this information, with what you know, and selects what is meaningful and relevant for you. And it is that meaningful and relevant information that you use to create your inner world. What do you create in your inner world based upon this selected information, which is based on your experience? Objects. Objects. Your world of objects is an inside creation. And then you project them onto the outside energy system. And they will match 100%. And then the information, see, it's a feedback loop. Then the information that you get is going to verify that there are objects here in the outside energy system, but they are a projection of what you created inside. Very confusing, but it's how the world operates. And it's hidden from you because of your belief system in the egoic thought process. It is a different interface than you are aware of. And so it happens so quick. This behind the scene operates at millions to billions of data, bits of data per second. Your conscious mind never knows it. Your conscious mind operates so slowly that it absolutely believes there's objects out here and has no idea you created them inside based on high-graded, filtered, manipulated information. This is an illusion, but you believe it's real. You believe there is an outside energy, an outside reality of objects. There is no objects except what you create based upon your past experience on the inside of you. Now, how you do that is what we'll talk about in the next video. So stay tuned. Be good to yourself. This is a journey of discovery. Have fun with it. You don't have to believe it. What I'm doing is questioning it, and your own intuition will begin to respond. We look forward to seeing you here in the illusion next time we get together. Oh, I will reference that other video so that it'll tie together. Now, I just forgot. A Course in Miracles. What does it tell you about how far we are right now? Now, you look in the description, and you will find it, and it'll reference it. Okay? Now, this comes from one of the lessons in the Course. This happens to be, I think, lesson 4. Now, in A Course in Miracles, there is a tendency to jump when you get the book, A Course in Miracles, to jump to the lessons. Oh, let us learn the lessons. Now, the lessons come out of the text. To understand the lessons completely, have to read the text. That's problematic, because when you start reading the text, it will seem crazy. The first time I started doing this, I did the same thing. I said, oh, this is too tough. Let's go to the lessons. And I played around with them for a while, and then I said, no, this is no good. So I gave the book away. It was an expensive book. I bought one that was real expensive. Wasn't until I ran into a video by Gary Craig. Now, you may remember that name because he did a lot of work in what's called traditional tapping. And you can look him up. Or you can look up tapping, and his name will pop up. And he was at a workshop, and he had a video of it, and I watched it. And basically he said, you know, I would read the Course, and I would read chapters, paragraphs and chapters. Couldn't get anything out of it. So I'd go through, and I'd read a chapter, or I'd read a paragraph, and I'd keep going. And all of a sudden, I'd hit a sentence. I said, hey, that sentence radiates with me. It means something. So he highlighted it. And then he'd go on, and he'd go on, and he'd get 2 or 3, 4, 5 sentences, and read the text, and a short time later, went back, started reading it again, and boom, other things popped out. Says, I didn't see that before. And here it is. Oh, let's highlight that. So when you read it several times, without going through the lessons, the wisdom of the Course begins to bubble to the surface in your mind. And you will begin to see what I call the wisdom in A Course in Miracles. Now, it's all integrated. But once you begin to recognize that the text is the foundation on which the lessons are formed, if you understand the foundation, the lessons are more meaningful. So I encourage you to struggle the first time reading the text. And then it becomes a treasure hunt for the miracles, for the wisdom that is inside of it. So give that some thought. So what is, oh, we didn't go on here. This is what we're talking about today. And this is the fourth lesson. The aim here is to train you in the first steps towards the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful. It is the first attempt in a long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside you, meaningless, and the meaningful inside. Outside, no objects, meaningless. Inside, meaningful. We have much to talk about here in the illusion. We have much to see and to understand. And I look forward to seeing you next time we get together here in the illusion to unravel the mystery of the black box and the mystery of where the objects come from. Be good to yourself, and I will see you next time here in the illusion. Bye now. Over.